Yabushige. 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 I think I got it down.
You got it.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Time TV. And today we're talking about Shogun Episode 5. My name is Josh, and if you cheat, cheat death. If you steal, steal the heart of a woman. If you lie, lie in her everlasting warmth of her bosom. And if you drink, drink with me. Yeah. So today I have with me my co-host, Jered.
That was the same one I had.
Seriously?
Yeah. 2 times in a row.
Wow.
For people who don't know, our movie one, we also had the same.
We had the same one.
Same quote, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So what's up, everyone?
All right, so we have to go back to checking these.
No, that's all right. I mean, it's a little bit harder with this one. There's not as many. Like, there always is a very good line, I feel like, in every Shogun episode.
Yes.
So, like, it's not hard, but it's like, normally then it's like you want to pick that best line, which I believe that was the best line of this episode.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It was good.
Yeah.
All right, well, before we get into episode 5 of Shogun, a little bit about what we've been watching. So, what have you been watching?
I have 5.
Ooh, so now you got a lot this time.
Yeah. Do you not have much this time?
No, I don't have very much this time.
Cool. It was going to be 6, but I didn't want to get too crazy. Yeah, and I'm not going to take long.
Yeah, keep it brief.
The one I'm going to take the longest one is the last one. I'm going to save the best for last, but not the best as far as it was a good movie. Because it was one of the worst movies in the world.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay.
I can't wait to talk about it. But first one, so TV stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I have another movie on here too, technically, but one I've seen before. But for TV, we have Manhunt on Apple.
Okay.
I was excited for this,
Yeah.
and this just came out. I have not watched much of it, but I was very excited for this going into it, and it's good so far. I think Apple is one of the best when it comes to like historical. They've done a lot of these now, and I don't think there's been one that's been bad that Apple's done. So I had a feeling this would be good too. Plus, there's some good actors in this too. I saw that. I think he directed the first 2 episodes. I didn't recognize the name, but I saw that he directed like a lot of good stuff. Like he directed some Mindhunter. What was the other big thing he directed? So this pretty good director too, because I imagine anyone that Fincher's going to let direct his show is, probably pretty good. So, because I don't know how much Fincher actually directed on that show, but yeah. Anyway, so this guy directed the first 2 of Manhunt, but yeah. Anyway, so there's that. I guess you haven't watched this yet.
I have not. I mean, it's on the list.
Okay.
I'd like to check out, but
yeah, I haven't watched too much of it yet. But I wanted to mention I did start on that. I have another Apple show that I have seen twice now, and I'm watching it a third time. All 3 seasons is Mythic Quest.
Nice.
Yeah. Did you watch all 3 seasons?
Oh yeah, I've seen all 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just love this show so much. Is there going to be a 4th season? Because I haven't seen.
I think so.
It.
I saw some teased recently on like a social, like an Instagram account or something, and I think they are working on the 4th season now.
Okay, all right, good. Because I hadn't heard anything from a while, and it's the 3rd season was kind of a while ago. I think now. Yeah. Because the first season was 2020, like beginning of 2020. Yeah. Anyway, I love the show. I think every character in it is just really great and unique.
Yes.
Obviously a great cast too.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's good workplace comedy basically.
It is. And we don't have any really that are like with like a video game
with a
company.
video game company.
So I'm glad that they did this. It is. And I like that I think they've done one for each season, where it's something very different and like very serious, and they've always been really good too. Normally, it's something that happened in the past.
Yeah.
You remember those? Yeah, they were awesome. And they usually get some big actors to be in those too, which is great. But anyway, I just started watching again because I was like, man, I missed this show, and I didn't see anything online about it coming back, but I'm glad. So they are doing season 4. We do a fact check real quick. Let's see.
Well, like I said, I think it was. Well, yeah, maybe we'll just do it
because I couldn't see anything about it, and I was kind of bummed. I'm like, man, are they just ending it? But it's not like Apple. I mean, they let shows run their course. And it didn't seem like, I don't think the show did bad, so.
They started writing season 4 in January 2024.
Oh, okay, so it's going to be a while.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit.
Although it's a half an hour.
Yeah, and it's, I mean.
Maybe by the end of the year?
They possible.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the Bears cranking them out. They're actually going to roll right into season 4 from season 3.
Yeah, they're filming both, which is smart of them. And you know what other show did this exact thing? Was Atlanta. The 2 final seasons they filmed back to back, which is so smart because all those actors were like so busy doing other stuff because they were such big actors. And then
we got that same thing in the Bear. Wonder if it's going to be over after season 4.
Probably because that's how Atlanta was. I mean,
that's long enough to run.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think the creator said he only had plans for like 3 or 4 seasons anyway. So
okay,
yeah, and so again that makes sense. There's all the people in that were already bigger actors are now even bigger actors. So that's smart of them to do. But I imagine they're still going to put it a year apart, right? Just like they did.
I would assume.
Yeah, that would make sense. All right. Then I'm in a very big Dune mood, which makes sense because we just watched Dune Part 2. But so I rewatched the original Dune movie from 1984 because I hadn't seen it in a while.
There's another 1984.
Yeah, that is 1984. Yeah. It's funny going back to it because I do like David Lynch movies, but man, now that and I liked the original Dune movie, but now that we have the new one, it's pretty bad going back to this one. Just comparing it. The only thing I do like better about it, because there's not much. It's like pretty much everything about the new ones obviously is way beyond this one, but they do a lot more with the Spacing Guild, which I think they only did in like the very beginning of Dune Part 1 for the new ones. And with the original Dune movie, they had a lot more to do with them.
Okay.
Now I'm assuming that'll probably come into play with Dune Messiah with the new movie. But anyway, so I like that aspect about it. The weirdest part about it, there's a lot of weird stuff in it because, I mean, Dune's weird anyway, but Villeneuve did it in a good way. David Lynch just does weird stuff. And
just leaned into the weird.
He always does, yeah. And I mean, I'm not hating though, because like, especially Twin Peaks, I love Twin Peaks. Yeah. But in this movie, I just forgot about it because I hadn't seen it in a while. The weirdest thing is Paul's sister is actually like a little girl in this movie, and
I remember.
I didn't remember that part, and I was like, "This is not good."
This little creepy kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was not great. Also, it's like if we think about it in Part 1 and Part 2 of the new movies, the original movie is only 2 hours long. The Part 1 segment of Dune that's in the original Dune is like almost all the movie. Part 2 is literally only like the last 30 minutes. And I'm like, why'd they do it like this? So the last 30 minutes are very rushed. Also, the ending's weird. It's very abrupt ending, which I also did not remember from the original movie. But
yeah.
So anyway, but still some good stuff in it, and some good shots too, because there's some really cool practical stuff they did in that look awesome. And then I watched because I never saw it, the original Dune miniseries that was on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, I remember that too. I only watched it like once, but
you did watch it though. Okay.
Yeah, when it was like airing, because Dad was watching. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. Yeah. I never watched it. Yeah, it was in 2000, and they did another one though a couple years later that I want to watch also.
I don't think I saw that one. I know it's showing.
And I don't know what books it's supposed to be about. Like, if it's actually Doom Messiah, then that'd be cool because I'd like to see what's next anyways. Because I was thinking about doing like an audiobook of it at least or something, but maybe I'll just watch that. But so I started that, and it's good too, but the bad part about it is, man, it's sci-fi in 2000,
Mm-hmm.
so the special effects
TV sci-fi. It's in 2000. Yeah,
man, it's really bad, the special effects. So there's that you kind of have to get over.
because like The Matrix came out in 1999, so like
Yeah,
they could do good stuff in that time, but we're talking
they
a TV budget.
yeah, no, not for this. Yeah, so that's the bad part about it, but it's still cool seeing these differences. Obviously, like certain characters, I'm like, I just don't think any of these are as good as, who Denny cast for the new movie, But some of them I think are still good or up to the same level. But it's just interesting to see the differences they do with the book. What I really like is seeing, so all three of these, so the new Dune, the miniseries, and the original Dune from '84, seeing like chronologically how they do stuff is very different.
Mm.
Like, even just little things like, well, I shouldn't say little things, this is a big part of the movie, but when Paul goes to the Reverend Mother and he does the Gom Jabbar test in the box, is like at very different times in all three of these. So I don't know how they and I don't know where exactly it is in the book either, but it's interesting to see how they like shuffle everything around. But I'm going to keep going with the miniseries because I'm interested in the other one as well.
Yeah.
The one, I think it was 2003 was the other one. Really no recognizable actors also. So it's probably just like
A bunch of people didn't do very good jobs and never got any further than that miniseries.
Yeah, the only one I did recognize is Duke Leto in the miniseries is William Hurt. So he's the only one that was recognizable, but everyone else, not really at all. Even the guy playing Paul didn't even look familiar at all. But anyway, all right. So I don't want to drag this out too far, but my final one is Madam Web is now on
VOD.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that it was on VOD. Yeah.
And I was like, I have to watch.
I have not watched it, but I was like, I gotta watch this too because I just want to see how bad it is.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah. That was my reason.
Watch the train wreck.
Mm-hmm. So, do you want me to spoil anything for you?
I don't think it matters. Go ahead.
I mean, there's not really anything to spoil in this movie. I want to start with, because I just looked this up and was wondering if this was like any different than when it first came out. So Madam Web has a 3.7 on IMDb currently and a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
So still pretty bad. Hasn't really gotten any higher. Maybe it's just gotten lower. I don't know how much has changed since it came out. I'm sure you've heard a lot about this movie, just what all goes on in this movie, but even taking aside just like because I mean even the visuals and everything else is nothing special, but like the absolute worst thing in this movie is the dialogue, which I know a lot of people are making fun of anyways, and it's true. It is some of the worst dialogue, and I have a few examples. I had to it's just I had to start with the final line in this movie is Madam Web saying, the best thing about the future, it hasn't happened yet. That's the way the movie ends. Okay, so then I think one of the other worst characters in this is the bad guy.
Okay. Don't
even recognize the actor. I just feel bad for him that he did this movie because it's like visibly clear. 95% of his dialogue is ADR. That much, and it's very bad. You see many times. We talked about this recently with another show, ADR wise, but like there's several times you see his mouth and it's not moving. And the difference is like, I don't even know. It wouldn't be that hard to like EQ and kind of match what the original audio sounds like. That really bothers me when the ADR is like completely different sounding, like EQ wise, compression, everything. And that's how this is. So it's like you can really tell. Yeah, that. And again, it's like it's not like this is a cheap movie. I'm sure this budget was way too much money. You know, like
yes.
So that was really bad. There's a lot of Spider-Man references in this movie, but because they don't have the rights to anything Spider-Man, they
don't.
No, because it's so not with the because this is.
But this is a Sony movie, right? So Sony does have the rights to
this is it Sony? I know it's not part of something because they clearly they don't have the rights to something, at least because there's a lot of references that they'll try to say like Spider-Man or Peter Parker, and they clearly like basically dismiss it in a way in the movie. So like it's clear that they can't do it. So I don't know what the
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know what the reasoning is for that. I think they're part of the Venom,
which is Sony
universe. That's still Sony?
Yep.
Okay, well then I don't know why they can't do that. Anyway, the worst example of this is the main character, Madam Web. She goes to a baby shower.
Okay.
And we don't know this, but it's a baby shower for the baby is going to be Peter Parker. And they're like, okay, so she's here gathered around. They're playing like a game, like, oh, guess the name of the baby. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone's going around doing that. And then when they get to, I'm just calling her Madam Web, but I forget her first name. Her last name literally is Webb, by the way.
$80 million budget.
Okay.
Just
wow. All right. So anyway, so when we get to her, everyone's guessing the name. When they get to her, what does she say? She says something, or she doesn't want to like say. So then the actual mom says, "Oh, it's," and right when she's about to say it, a balloon pops. That's how they dismiss it, which is horrible. My last thing, because there's so many other things you could do this throughout the whole movie. It is actually, I would say watch it just because it really is just to laugh at the whole time, because you will see how bad it is. Like, Morbius is really bad. This is way worse than Morbius even. Seriously, because I watched Morbius too. This is, yeah. And it's upsetting because there's good actors in this too.
Yeah. Like
the mom is from *Halt and Catch Fire*. I like that actress a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of, I have to mention Sydney Sweeney in this because her character in this, she's supposed to be like this very plain Jane nerdy girl.
Yeah.
And I'm like you
don't cast
Yeah,
Sydney
don't
Sweeney.
cast her. Yeah, it's so dumb because I'm like, you can't make her look like that. We all know who she is. Like, that was the other thing that really bothered me because they try to really play her up that way. So anyway, that was my main things. There's so much in this. If you said you're going to watch it, you really should, because it is just, it's hilarious to watch and just see, like, I can't believe this was made.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
Just to...
So there you go. All right, that's now everything. I have one more that I'll save for next time.
All right.
So yeah, what you say? You don't have much?
Well, hot take there, Madam Web.
Yeah, not a hot take.
Not good.
Did anyone actually like Madam Web? I don't really think anyone was like, this is a great movie.
All right, so I just got two things. So Animal Control season 2 started, and it's cheesy. It's not the best workplace comedy, like, but it's fun to watch. It's not terrible. I mean, it is, but like in a
Okay.
sitcom-y kind of way.
I didn't know you. So you watched all the first season?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And season 2 just started.
Yeah. I have not watched it.
But it's Mythic Quest is better. Definitely watch Mythic Quest before you'd watch this. But it's not terrible. But then I also watched a movie, Ricky Stenicki.
Okay,
Are you familiar with this movie?
Yeah, I'm familiar. I have not watched it, but
So
is it good though?
It's actually pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny.
All right.
I wouldn't say it's a classic like Dumb and Dumber or something, but it's good. So it is one of the Farley brothers.
I saw that. Yeah.
Not
one
both
of them's
together,
directed.
but one of them
Okay.
like kind of, and it definitely has that flavor for sure. So it
Okay.
kind of has that going on. But do you know the premise? Are you aware of the general premise of this?
Vaguely, like it's like a childhood thing they made up, right?
These 3 friends in middle school, they kind of do something dumb, and they're the way to get out of it. They leave a jacket behind, and they write a name in the tag, Ricky Stenicki, that they made up, and then that gets them off the hook, and they don't get caught for this thing they did when they were like middle school age. But then because of that, and it's kind of the intro montage, it was a good, clever way to do that. Intro montage where they show like an animated version of like them kind of growing up and all these little things that a lot of preteen and teenage people do. They kind of get in trouble, and they always kept blaming it on Ricky Stenicki.
Okay.
And getting, kind of like what they were smoking pot and they blame it on him, whatever, like, and it's because it's montage. So then you flash forward to like present day, and all these guys are like early 30s, married. Some of them have kids.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, no, none of them have kids, but one of them's getting ready to have a kid. That's what it is. But anyway, and they're still using him to like, oh, we want to get out of the baby shower and go on this because we got these tickets to this, I can't remember if it was a baseball game, whatever, like something they want to go to see.
Mm-hmm.
And so they like all coordinate this like made up story about Ricky Stenicki needing them to all, like he's in the hospital or something and they had to go. So like, and then you find out that they have this like, they have a special phone so they can post for his social media.
Wow.
And then they have a Bible where they keep track of all the lies they basically made up for this guy. So that's the setup.
Okay.
And then they get called on it. And then they decide they ran into this guy. That's an actor. It just happens to be the guy the part that John Cena plays. Right. And they call him up and have him show up to the baby shower as Ricky Stenicki. And they give him like the Bible to study. And he's like a method actor. And so he's like, won't even answer to his original name. It only answers to Ricky Stenicki. And it's like so hilarious, the things that ensue with that.
That's an awesome premise.
Yeah. And so, the premise is great. And of course, that setup was like the first 10, 15 minutes. Like it's not really, and then it's like, it kind of ends a little whatever, but it's kind of how those movies are. Like it's never about the ending. It's just like the fun stuff on the situations that happen throughout. But yeah, so it was fun. It was fun.
All right.
I would, recommend it. Give it like a 7 or 8 or something in there. 7.5. But yeah, it was good.
Sweet.
All right, let's get into Shogun episode 5. This is the halfway point now.
It is.
There's 10 episodes. There's so much has happened.
Yeah.
But this is called the Broken to the Fist. And we have our synopsis. Blackthorn and Mariko struggle to contain the secret that could get them both killed. Yabashige searches for the spy who has betrayed his intentions to Lord Toranaga. All right. Overall thoughts on this episode?
I mean, probably just say the same thing as like
they're batting 5 out of 5.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's like, we're halfway through and I don't really even see like a dip at all in quality. It's just
every episode's got such good drama and intrigue.
Oh yeah.
But then also there's always some kind of action or something that's happening that's like also kind of interesting and cool. And just history and all the things that's like kind of intertwined in that.
Yeah, and it's never it's never boring at any point, even when it's like the most like
Yes.
minute, dialogue between two characters. It's still always interesting and intriguing. Yeah.
Yes. Cool. Well, let's get into this episode. So we open with, they're kind of cleaning up dead bodies, but then, and Toranaga shows up with his little huge army.
Mm-hmm.
And we're basically pick up right where the episode before left off. What's up?
Yep.
But then the big surprise, Buntaro is alive.
No way.
We called it.
Yeah.
We definitely talked about that.
We did, yeah.
We're like, we didn't see him die. He was not on camera, so he's not dead. Think that I would say even calling that, I think this happens way sooner than I thought he wouldn't come back this quickly.
Yeah, I didn't think. Yeah, like I knew he'd come back, but I didn't think it would be right away. Yeah,
like the 5th episode, like really like one episode without him, and then we have him back again because he kind of died, quote unquote, at the end of episode 3.
Yeah,
and then he's back by beginning of episode 5. So he's really only gone for long enough for them to have coitus and
coitus. Yeah,
in the sexy time bathtub.
Yes.
But anyway, so he's back.
But no, it wasn't her. It was
right.
It was his concubine.
Yeah. Right. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So of course, great looks on their faces when they saw like Blackthorn and Mariko. Yeah, there's our name. Mariko. It's curled up. I mean, our cheat sheet.
Yeah. I don't know. Why is this happening?
It's printer paper, cheap printer paper.
Cheap printer paper.
Yeah. So definitely gonna have a little. Let's say love triangle might not be the right term, but
no, not
really a triangle per se.
No.
Little love, hate.
Yes. Yeah. It's we're gonna get a lot of stuff here in a little bit.
Yeah.
That goes on between them.
Yeah. Then we go to a scene with the council.
Yeah.
This was funny because they're all like, yes, we need to get rid of Toranaga. We need to replace them with somebody. And then every single person had a different idea of who that should be. And no one liked anybody else's idea. So they couldn't agree upon anything, which was probably his plan all along.
Yep.
He was like, I resign. And those idiots won't be able to agree on anything, and they will never be able to replace me anytime soon.
Yeah, he's man. I think he's been like one step ahead of everyone,
and they do
everyone.
They do a really good job of like writing that and like making it feel natural, and like he's just like that much smarter of a strategist that he is,
and not just with the council, but with
everyone.
Yeah,
everyone,
definitely.
Yeah. And of course, end of that scene, they get the head.
Yep.
In the box. What's in the box?
Yeah.
And then we get the scene where the hunting, and he gets the pheasant, and he gives the pheasant to Blackthorn.
Yeah.
As a gift. And Blackthorn's all excited, and he's like, "Oh, we're going to prepare this special. This is going to be the special meal," and blah blah blah, and so, that was kind of, and then of course he's like, "We're going to hang it up here," and then I think Fuji's even like, "Hey, this is going to smell, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, it'll smell."
Yeah, what I was wondering, why did he need to leave it up there? Like he wanted it to be that way before eating it?
I think so. Like it's something.
Like it's something he did before.
Yeah, it's like the style of doing it, which doesn't make sense. But
I know I don't think they would have done that in England, but maybe they did.
I did not look. I did not do research.
I didn't either.
So then we have a scene with Yabushige and Toranaga, and he's saying who decided to do this one, and he's trying to blame. He said, was it my son? And then he's like, well, actually, Omi kind of convinced him, and it was his idea to like, let's go ahead and use the cannons to get rid of. And so but then Toranaga kind of praises Ami for making that decision and saying, hey, this is going to actually make them come to us, and then we can have a better chance of, instead of us having to attack them. So I thought that was funny. Of course, like turn of events, Yabashige kind of was like, oh crap, he was trying to think he was.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
So then he was not happy, which then he sends him on the search to find the spy. But then he also doesn't he send like his right-hand man to go to Shido and tell him he's still on his side. So he's like still trying to play both sides.
Yeah,
even though it's like, at least it's like so obvious that Toranaga is like, yeah, I know. And but he's still there trying to, it's so
I know.
Funny.
He even directly like basically says to him,
yeah, I know you're really on their side, but
right, yeah. But he basically tells him like in a subtle way that I know that you're playing both sides, and like you're still like, he's basically still just letting him do his thing, even though he knows everything that's going on. Yeah.
And then Bentaro is told he's gonna have to stay at the house there with the barbarian.
Yeah.
And we have a scene where he catches a fly barehanded.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, kind of just showing his quick reflexes. But that leads us into this dinner scene.
Yeah,
which is like,
this is the beginning of it.
Yes, but it's also like, this is the I guess the pinnacle of this episode. Like,
yeah,
this scene is like so good and so
it is
well choreographed from a dialogue and like even just, I mean, some of the shots of even just like people not saying anything.
Oh yeah,
characters, so good. So
yeah, they have a drinking contest.
Yeah, it basically leads to a drinking contest. Yes, of sake, but they're also fun. It was funny, like, because the ladies ate like beforehand because they knew it was coming.
Oh, right.
They were like, "Oh yeah, we got to eat now because it's going to be a mess later."
Yeah,
and then also they were, I think, anticipating that whatever crap that Blackthorn was going to make with his pheasant, like stew thing, that they were just like, "Yeah, we're eating now. We're not going to want to."
Yeah, that was smart of them. They knew that it wasn't going to be good.
So they're both getting the measuring tape out and kind of measuring things.
Yeah, for sure.
And then he talks about honoring, one's wife. Blackthorn does, and of course that's when Bentaro is kind of like, honor, and then like he's like, tell him who you really are, and we get the backstory on Mariko's family.
This was great. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was surprised we didn't get like a flashback though.
I thought we would too. Yeah.
But because we had some of those other like brief scenes.
Yeah.
That they showed before, but also at the same time, I think from a character standpoint, it was nice to just sit on her face and see her just agony and just disgrace telling the story, and so that must be why they decided it. But like at the same time, I was expecting a flashback, but
it's just like, again, pointing out how big of a difference this is, her acting in this.
Yes.
Monarch, like, it's crazy.
Yep.
Like, she's so good in this.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and so it just goes to show you, difference in writing and a director can make.
Yeah.
I think, because an actor they can do their thing, but they're not seeing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the whole, there's a feedback loop there that's supposed to be happening. And if they're not doing what needs to be done, or they're doing too much of something, or not, someone should be giving them feedback, and so that's where that comes into play.
Yeah, it's upsetting though, because now again he didn't direct all of them, but the guy that I recognized that directed Monarch, like he's done a lot of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, like a ton of It's Always Sunny.
Mm-hmm.
And again, maybe, I mean, no, but no. Then he did WandaVision. I was gonna say maybe he's only good at comedies, but no, WandaVision was. I don't know. Loki's good too, but I would say one of the best as far as Marvel TV. So.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know what happened with that show. It's just upsetting because it could have had so much potential.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So the tension keeps building. Blackthorn says the line that we both quote. It says "drink with me." So then they're drinking, and then I don't know how many glasses they had because he switches to the bigger bowl.
Oh yeah,
instead of the little things of sake, and they start like pounding drinks. But at some point, there's a scene, like where Fuji's like telling the people that's helping, like, tell the masters no more.
Yeah,
and like almost like cutting them off because they had so much. But at some point, then Bentaro gets all like, and he's like, "Give me my bow."
This was awesome.
This was crazy.
Yeah.
Cool shot too of like the slow-mo of the arrow going right in front of her face. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was another thing that was done really well, because the arrow that close, because that's a very close shot, and that arrow looked very real next to her. So, and there's no way they did that. So it's for sure CG, but like it looked very real.
Or some kind of comp. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's funny though, because like if the show was like done back in the day, they would have probably shot a real arrow that close to an actor, but not anymore.
I mean, like a long time ago, maybe.
Yeah.
But green screen or blue screen has been around for a long time.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
So like, and that's one way to do it. Like you shoot that arrow on a green screen, and then you just comp it in. And
but then if you do it that way with comping it in, would that be easier or harder to make it look more real, like it actually was right next to her?
Well, the issue,
as opposed to just making a CG arrow.
I don't know.
Okay.
Because like if you shot, then when you shot her face, filming her face without the arrow there, as long as you did something like to kind of blow past, like, because there was definitely like the motion of the air, like it kind of you just did something off camera, but enough to like make her face move, and of course it was in slow mo, so there's and honestly you just got to plan it, like it's there's so much more on the technical side of that to make it to do it well than
well, I mean, there was I mean I know this show was in development for a very long time, so, and because of how well done the show is, you can tell obviously there was a lot of planning done in this production ahead of time, for sure.
So then
he does more than one arrow too, right?
He does a second arrow.
Yeah, he does a second one, yeah.
And then they kind of, things break apart then. Like, then they kind of go to bed, like, because it's Fuji, like, they were like, Fuji's tired.
Yeah.
Right? And so they'll go to bed. Of course, so then he wakes up in the middle of the night to hearing some people screaming and fighting. And
it's like if you, like, didn't already think that he was bad enough as a person, even though, like, again, we talked about this last time, like how he definitely like redeemed himself with like fending off all those people, but then like you see this and you're like, man,
but it's a culture thing.
Oh no, it for sure is,
because like later when they're talking about it to Tornago, he's like, well, a man can do it as well with his life as he wills. I don't care,
for sure.
I just can't have my translator getting injured. And it's like, so he's like, otherwise I don't care.
Yep.
Which is just weird. I mean, like, to our society, and but we would never be that way. But when I say we, like, people are still that way, but like we would never think it's okay to be that way,
right?
As a society. But yeah, so he of course runs in, and he Bantara had already left the house, but then he goes after him with a gun,
Mm-hmm.
and he finds him, and then of course he's there sitting, bowed, cross-legged, like, and he blames it on the sake.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Blackthorn's a decent dude, so he's like, all right, yeah. I've done some dumb stuff when I've been drunk, probably. He's probably what he's thinking.
Yeah.
But then, did you catch when he's walking back in the house?
What?
He sees the arrow, and the second arrow he split with the first arrow. Or for the second arrow, he split the first arrow.
No, I did not see this.
It's Blackthorn, like after he kind of like let him go, and then he's walking back, and they see him glance at it, and they show it, and it's like the one arrow was split by the other arrow.
Wow.
To me, I read that as like, oh, he was still in control of what he wanted.
Oh, yes.
Right? Like it's like, oh, he was able to do that, and so he really, was.
No, that was definitely the intention. Yeah, because no matter how good you are, like how drunk he was, like, it's like, yeah, he basically was still, he wasn't too drunk to where he wouldn't be,
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously blaming on that, like, no, he just hates Blackthorn, which is obvious.
Yeah. But, so obviously he was conscious enough, or he was able to control himself enough to do that. He, whatever, hour, 2 hours later, however long it was, they were sleeping before that happened, then he, would have been conscious enough to know better than to beat up his wife. But
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of what I thought that was important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we didn't really talk about our family history, though. Do you want to touch on that at all? We got, I said we got to learn about it, but we didn't like.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember everything she says, but basically, like, pretty much everyone in her family gets killed at some point.
Well, her father
was like this
was
assassin.
Well, no, he was
or was he assassanated?
No.
Okay.
He assassinated someone.
Okay.
They're
all right.
the Lord that they were like a higher family, but I guess the Lord of the area, can't remember what they specifically said, but he was not a good person. And so basically her dad, to save everyone else, like assassinated this Lord that was like the Lord of the land.
Okay.
But once, because he did that and it was disgraceful.
That's right. Then he
commit suicide what's the word they use?
Seppuku.
Seppuku. For him and the whole family. But then because she was married to Bantaro already, he had to say whether she could do that or not. And then he
That's right, yeah.
said, no, you need to live. And then every year she asks again
wants to
join her family in death. And he says no.
Yeah.
So, which is crazy. But
stuff like that is like, I wonder how much that is exactly from the book or how much this goes into whoever's writing the show, because either way, that's like such good writing in general for like a backstory of someone. Like, it's crazy. Like, that's on another level that I don't know how true that is to. So I don't know who to credit. If it's like, if that's straight from the book, then that's amazing. But if they like embellished on that for the show, like, that's incredible also.
Right.
Like, that's so intricate and detailed. Like, normally when we get a backstory,
it's like, my whole family's dead.
it's not as elaborate or intricate.
In an earthquake or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So like that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, horrible, but amazing.
But it's like, and it's also cool because you're like, oh, it like makes you feel like, oh, he was like a noble person to like basically, commit, or no, he was gonna have to die, and basically say, okay, I'm gonna die for the better of everybody else, and I'm gonna assassinate this Lord, and then, I know I'm gonna have to commit suicide after, but I'm gonna do that just to make it better for everybody else.
Yes.
So definitely, they're very different outlook on death in their culture at that time, for sure.
Oh yeah. Well,
As
there's
we get to that. Yeah, we get to
there's
that.
another thing of that.
Yeah. So then in the morning, Mariko won't talk with Blackthorn really.
Mhm.
She says, from here on out, we're just gonna be coworkers. Like, I'll be a translator and that's it.
Yeah.
Speaking of translating, I forgot to touch on. So that whole dinner scene, it's one thing they do in the show amazing is it's like most of the time I feel like it's like a hindrance to the storytelling when there has to be like translation.
Oh yeah.
But yet they use it as like a way to do better storytelling or even create comedic moments. Like all these things that they use it for so well in this. And I don't, again, to your point, I don't know if that's in the book or if that's just in the writing of this. But it's so well done. And in this case, it was, it almost created additional layer of tension.
Yes.
Because of the misunderstandings or the translations, or she was even trying to, soften some of the things that either one of the guys were saying to each other to try to like mitigate the situation, and it still didn't help. It still ended up in the.
Also, it's like it wouldn't. In like another show, obviously it wouldn't be done as well, but in this, it's like you're never, when there is these long scenes where something needs to be translated, you're never like, okay, let's speed this up. This is taking too long. Like everything, like you're invested the whole time, even though like this obviously is taking longer because it would in real life. Like to say you're saying something, then she translates and then back and forth, that whole process. Yeah, and they do it so well, and I think that's a great point. That I think it does, like elevate the tension even more, or even like like sometimes comedic as well. Like especially Blackthorn, like some of the insults he gives people are just great.
Yep. Anyway, so then there's a lot of awkwardness between them.
Yep.
Now, which then leads Blackthorn to kind of be like, I'm done with this place. Like this, or no, that's right. There's one other thing. So then he goes back to the house.
Yeah, this happens first. Yeah,
and the pheasant's gone, and he's like, well, who took care of the? And then they're like, the gardener. I forget the guy's name, and he's dead. And he's like, why is he dead? And, and of course, not realizing the impact of his words earlier on the episode where he was jokingly said, well, just don't touch it. Anybody touches it, they'll be died. And it was mainly also because he was trying to say it in their language and didn't know how to say it. So he said it in Japanese and he used the word die. So it was a little bit of like that misunderstanding. But how much the weight his words have, like he's just not used to that. And in their society, it's like, that's gold.
That's the exact note I had for that scene is like, this is the moment, because there's been a few times before this, but not to this extreme, where John Blackthorne has said something to someone in this culture. But this is the moment he finally realizes how much weight his words have. And then, that's why then he decides. Him. That's when he decides he wants to leave.
So the combination of that, and then of course,
well, and Mariko also.
Like not like he's like, hey, that was fun, but I guess it's not fun anymore. So time to.
Oh, and also
get out of Dodge
too.
Yeah, her husband's back. Time to get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Yes, sneak out the window. The husband's back. Sneak out the window.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he goes to Tornago and it's like wanting to basically complain about it. He's like, you guys don't, I just want my ship back and my men back and get out of here. I don't. And of course, he just laughs. And he's like, I don't have time for all this crap. So then, but then as they're just trying to like talk through that and figure that out is when then they get hit by a massive earthquake.
So real quick before that, the only thing I was unclear about was, did the gardener kill himself or did Fuji kill him? Because kind of made it seem like she did it, but then I'm thinking that he
Right.
killed himself
Um,
because that was unclear.
I think it was more like he killed himself, but by her command, like she made sure it was
Okay.
followed through that he did it because, and it's kind of like, because we find out, and you're right, because we find out when he's talking to Mariko back next to Toranaga there before the earthquake, and he's like, I don't understand you guys, and she's explaining, no, this was a whole decision for the whole town.
Yeah.
Everyone talked it through, and he decided he had been sick anyway, and he's going to take one for the team, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And he's going to get rid of the pheasant so that everyone's happy. And it's kind of similar to what her dad did, just not as extreme.
Yeah.
But then he knew the consequences of what he was going to do was he would have to follow through with killing himself. So then she's just the one that made sure, like, kind of had the authority to, like,
Make sure he follows through with it. Yeah. Okay.
Of course, then they used him as the decoy for the spy.
Yeah.
That Yabashige was looking for, and that so he ended up working out. But so then Blackthorn's like, I want out of here. Give me my ship. Give me my men. I'm just gonna leave. And then we have the earthquake, and then of course, what he does in all these situations, he's used to thinking on his feet really quickly, which is one of the things that I think the advantage he has in this culture, because I feel like they're slow to make decisions.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily they're slow to. I think he reacts in a different way, and because of the different cultures, obviously.
I think it's some of the culture. Not maybe slow is not the right best, but it's very more calculated decisions.
Yes,
and he's
more in the moment, like immediately.
Yeah, and more haphazard.
Yes,
but like just doesn't.
It's always worked out so far.
Yeah,
though.
but then he seems to make it work either way, and so he just jumps in and like starts looking for Toranaga. But probably because he did that, it was able to find him and save his life.
Yeah.
And they dig him out of the dirt, and he even hits him on the back a couple times to get him like start breathing. And but then there's this like cool moment where he gives him the swords.
Yeah.
That Fuji had given him because Toranaga doesn't have any swords. And then there's this like kind of like we find out earlier in that episode from Mariko that those swords actually were not even that special, and that somebody had to buy them off of because her father was actually disgraced or whatever. I don't remember what the exact thing happened, but so we find out like that was even a lie, that she doesn't even know the truth of her grandfather and the swords, but she thinks they're valuable, and then she gave them to Blackthorn as a gift, which gives him value regardless. But then he's passing one again, and so that's giving even more value. So then these are special swords now, even though originally they were not.
Well, this is like a very, very big value now that it's like a lord, right? I mean, and not just any lord. I mean, Toranaga is like, I mean, we saw in like, was it last episode, how well respected he was when they got to.
Yabashige didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't get the same reception.
No. And then we have the end shot that's sweet, where he puts the stone back up in the garden. Mm-hmm. So we didn't touch on that, but the gardener that ended up dying. There was an earlier conversation. The gardener's like, "Oh, it's not a garden until you have the right stone in here."
That's right.
And he was putting this like big stone in the middle of the garden. And so then we see Blackthorn, even after the earthquake, putting that back up, like standing it back up so that it's back where that guy had put it. And it was just a sweet moment. And he kind of holds Fuji's hand in there for a little bit, because she's like glad that he was like running after to make sure she's okay, and then seeing that she's okay, because there is like, even though it's not a love, there's like definitely like a very affection from like just a friend, like respect.
It's a different kind of love.
Yeah, not the kind of love that he has for Mariko.
Yeah, no.
But that kind of concludes this episode.
So
anything else you had that I skipped over?
No, but you're right, because I thought it would just like pick right back, like right up, and we would have this big battle, but not yet.
No.
So I don't know, because you were thinking maybe the next one after this, but now I don't even know if we'll get it.
Yeah, well,
You think they'll do penultimate episode? Wait all the way till then, like they do with other?
No, because I think this. I mean, there is. It's just 10 episodes. Like,
Yeah,
there's no more. There's no more book. There's no.
yeah.
I think maybe it'll be next episode because I think, we had that little scene. Oh, I didn't talk about this. Well, then the heir's mother shows back up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that is
there's
at
like
the
quick
very
scene,
end.
and
Yeah.
she's like taking over the council.
Yep.
And so that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
because she obviously doesn't care for Tornago, I guess. Then I wasn't sure up until this point. Like, it was kind of hard to decide if she wanted to be there, and he was keeping her there because he was.
That was unclear.
Yeah, and they were blaming him on trying to keep her a prisoner, and he was like, "No, she's free to go." But it was unclear until this point. But I think at this point, I think she's not on Tornago's side.
But now
or Tornaga,
she has.
So we assume like that
she has the final say with.
If she's going to control this council, then she can send the rest of all the other regions, their armies, I guess, after Tornaga.
Right.
So we might see we might see a big battle this episode 6. Then maybe Bintara will die.
Yeah, maybe eventually. We'll see.
But yeah, it still continues to be just such a good, compelling show. And even if they don't make upload, even if there's no more than just these 10 episodes, like, at least I hope this creative team continues like to do something
Definitely
together, whatever, writing, directing, whatever, main people are involved. I mean, I don't really even know like what kind of
I didn't look into the writers or the directors.
Yeah, but but it's solid stuff.
It seems like kind of like what a lot of shows have been doing, where it's like director doing like different director every 2 episodes, which I think it might be for this also. I have to double check because that's how it was like some other shows I was mentioning, but it seems like they'll do 2 at a time. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that and see who all's involved with this show.
Well, you guys enjoying this one? Hopefully you're watching Shogun.
Seems like a lot of people are.
Yeah.
Seems like it's pretty popular already.
Getting pretty popular.
Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts. Did we skip over anything important in this episode? Or you agree or disagree with something we said? Leave a comment, or you can email us in and at feedback@screentimepod.com. And please like and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and if you want, you can follow us on Instagram. There's Screen Time Pod Instagram, and then me personally, you can follow me at jyoungbar.
And I'm at Jered Youngbar.
All right, and we'll talk about episode 6. Episode 6 next week. All right, talk to you guys then.